guys, we're back again. It's Lisa and Maggie. We are going to be talking about the Old Lake County Jail, which is located in Crown Point, Indiana. This is a spot that is near and dear to us. We've investigated there twice, and we had really good experiences there. What's funny is, Lisa, if you remember, that we investigated once like when it was really hot outside, and then once when it was really, really cold outside. And the thing about investigating the Lake County Jail is that there's no insulation. So we were either burning up in there or we were freezing in there. So it was real interesting to see the two seasons and how, like, what kind of different experiences we got there. What do you remember out of any of the investigations that we went there, Lise?
I think the most amazing part, I think, of that investigation was hearing that musical box that people have talked about. And our amazing tour guide, she is like the best out of
she was telling us all kinds of stories about what went on in there, which kind of just livened us up before we even got in there. So we were like ready to experience everything that came with us. But like you were saying, that was something that we did not even expect. Mm-hmm. That camera was just put there downstairs just to see what we can catch. And then we heard the music, and then we caught an orb, which is one of the things that they report seeing a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no one was down there. It's just so crazy because none of us were in that area. It was a small group of us. And the reason why Sandy is so amazing is because she joined us on that paranormal investigation. Yeah. She is such a cool tour guide. So we caught some kind of light, looked like from a flashlight. We heard the musical box. And I feel so bad because my friend lent us his night vision camera. We used it on our first investigation, and that was it for it. Right after that investigation, it died out. What I love so much about Ghost Box is that we weren't all high tech. We didn't manipulate anything. Everything was raw. Nothing was manipulated. So what you see is what you get.
Exactly. And like you were saying, when we had the camera downstairs, later on, remember, we found out that actual little place where we left it is where the family would stay. Like, when this jail was back in the early 1900s, when it was first built, the sheriff's family had to stay down there. So like, his family had to live downstairs a freaking wall away where prisoners were. And I think that little musical box had something to do with that, maybe, like, you know, the residual energy of like the family and the kids that used to live there, you know, that just made it 10 times more interesting.
Oh yeah, and they probably had some traumatic experience there, because I mean, being in a jailhouse, that's kind of a little edgy, you know, for a childhood.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure they heard people screaming, they heard fights. I'm sure they've seen a lot. So I can see why it would be traumatic. And maybe that music box brought them some kind of just some kind of comfort.
Yeah, maybe. And that's probably why they hear it once in a while, which is kind of creepy, but amazing at the same time. But yeah, like you were saying, that camera just stopped working, and we did feel bad after that. I was like, oh no. But I think it was probably, you know, the energy was just too much in there. And
Marcos, if you're watching, we apologize. And
sorry.
I know I didn't. And he said it worked fine before that. Yeah. So all of a sudden, boom, we went to the Old County Jailhouse. That camera was done with.
Yeah. So we had a couple of like problems, like in our other investigations, with different equipment about it, like not shutting down, us losing footage, things like that. It's been crazy. Everything that we caught was purely 100% real. Nothing fabricated, just our experiences, point blank. the jail cells, the bars are just like peeling off and the paint's peeling off, but then you can see like the beds that were there, and you can sit on the beds and get a feel for that energy that was once there. One thing that I do remember that we caught a lot of are orbs. And this was both when it was cold and when it was hot. And these orbs that we caught weren't bugs or dust or anything. You can see that there was some light emitting from these orbs, and they had a purpose in the direction that they were going. So we caught these orbs, which was a pretty cool find. And then we caught some voices on our spirit box. I remember, Lisa, you were trying to talk to, what's his name? Salmons? James for Salmons, yes. Who is Al Capone's hitman, who also was jailed there at the Old Lake County Jail. So I remember you were calling him out. And I believe we did get some voices that sounded like it could have been him.
Yes, I also felt, I don't know if it was just my imagination, but I felt like some pain in my leg. And I think you felt something.
Yeah, I do remember that. That's when we were doing the spirit box.
Yes, yes, we caught a growl there.
What the hell is that?
When we were by the stairs, that's when we caught some kind of dog barking.
Yep.
And a lot, and it was so cool to catch the dog barking because a lot of people have claimed that they heard some kind of ghost dog, and we caught it on our camera, and our K2 was going off at that same time. And then we catch an orb.
And
like,
then
how
we catch an
we
orb.
catch it at once?
And
you know?
I don't think it was like in a typical orb shape. It was like in that weird, like it was almost trying to manifest itself into a shape kind of orb, which was like freaking amazing. Like, you hear the dog, and then everyone's like, what is that? Kind of trying to figure out. It's super quiet. And then the K2 starts going off. And then after the K2 starts going off, we see the orb. But of course, we didn't see it with our eyes right then and there. We saw it later in the evidence, which was amazing. But yeah, I remember that so clearly that we were just like, what is that?
Remember when we were like by the top of the stairs, we seen some kind of lights, and we're like, what is that? Like, scratching our heads, like, should we go a little closer to it? Instead of running, we're like,
I know.
Let me catch
that. We're just so curious, and we want, I mean, that's what paranormal investigators do, right?
Yeah, I was questioning our sanity.
Towards the scariness.
Yeah, I questioned our sanity after that investigation.
I know. Do you remember when we were looking at something and we were so focused on it that we missed the bat that almost flew next to our head?
Oh, yes, and then there was a bat, yes. Oh, my goodness. It was like, get the heck out of here.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, surprising things. We were, like, so focused on what we were looking at, and then all of a sudden the bat comes and flies at our heads.
Yeah, that would have been like a perfect movie, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, focus on something, and then here comes the bat. Like, oh my God.
Crazy.
Directed by Stephen King. No. But yeah, I loved it in there. It was so fun. Yeah, I remember we went on 2 different investigations because the first time the camera went out, the first time was cold. And then I remember our camera caught some kind of mist by your feet. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. We were trying to like figure, like we were trying to debunk whatever it was, like what if it was from this or that, and then there was no way that a mist could be by my feet that low. Like we thought, oh, maybe it could have been like from our breath because it was so cold. It would have been on every single piece of our, you know, our video footage if that was the case, because we were talking the whole time and you don't see it in any other clip except for that one. Right. And it was so low that it wouldn't be like, you know, where our mouth is. So yeah, that was crazy.
In that same area, Sandy was saying that people caught some kind of crawling spirit. Wouldn't that be crazy if that was the crawling spirit? Because it freaked so many people out. It would crawl up to them. They described it as crawling up to them or coming up to them like a dog. And then sometimes they would see it go up the walls and go, you know, up towards the ceiling and then come back down.
And it's funny, the second time that we went, like, again, we were telling, you know, friends about our investigation and what we found. And we actually brought someone with us to see how it was. And she was pretty amazed by everything that we saw and found. Remember when
Was
Katie
she a
came with us?
skeptic? Yeah, I remember Katie. Was she a skeptic?
No, I don't think she was a skeptic. She was more of a, she believes in it and kind of wants to see it for herself type of thing. And boy, did she.
Yeah, guys out there, if you're a skeptic, we're looking for you guys to come on our podcast, even do a paranormal investigation with us. It's all fun.
Want to pick your brain.
yeah, it's going to be a fun thing. So if you're a skeptic, hey, hit us up. We'd love to have you on our podcast.
Yeah, if you're interested, just a little bit, just kind of want to listen to our stories, but you're kind of like, oh, you know, I can explain that away. Let us know. We can have you on the podcast. We can pick your brain. Maybe you can come to an investigation with us, and then after the investigation, we'll see if you're still a skeptic.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, just to hear their thoughts. Like, did you hear that? Did you see that? Are we in a different dimension? I mean, what's going on?
Right.
I remember one part of the jailhouse. It was, I forgot exactly what it was, Maggie. I don't know if it was on the second floor, but it was so, it was just like, it was worse than all the rest of the jailhouse.
Yeah, where we had to like step over stuff and things. Or is that the part we're talking about? Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. So like, it was way more dilapidated than all the other floors for some reason. And I think that's the floor where there was like a lunch bench.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where there was like a certain section where it looked like that's where they would have lunch or dinner or wherever they would eat. And we went in there and we caught that orb that looked like it was kind of following us. I think that's where we caught that.
And we also heard a weird noise, like a horn. Did you, I don't know if you remember that part, but we're like, okay, that's creepy.
I remember that. Oh my God. Did we catch that, or was it kind of just our experience?
Yeah, I'm going to play it for everybody at home.
Oh. Talking to the red light here. We can hear you. That was creepy.
And it didn't come from outside. And it didn't sound like a horn, a car horn, or anything like that. But it came from inside the jailhouse. And it's so cool. We caught that on film and also caught some kind of thing like an orb going out, you know. And
you know what? That reminds me of when ghost hunters went to investigate at the old Lake County jailhouse. I don't know if you remember that episode, but they said that they heard a noise that sounded like it was outside, but no one was outside. Like one of the investigators was outside and they were like, there's no cars passing by. There's no one out here to make that noise. And it was actually a noise that was in the room with them, but they kind of wanted to, I guess, believe that it was someone outside or someone in the car outside. So maybe we heard the same thing.
Yeah, possibly. I don't think it came from the outside though. I think it was right inside. And I just remember talking to you guys like, okay, that was creepy. Because it wasn't something normal. It wasn't like something we hear every day. You know? And,
and it was inside a place that has no power. Like I remember the downstairs, it had maybe 2 light bulbs, like the pole light bulbs, because I mean it's an old place. It was built in 1882.
Yes.
And it has like 2 light bulbs, and I remember they had a bathroom, and it was the only bathroom there, and it was downstairs, and we're like, you know, just kind of using the bathroom real carefully, looking around, because it looks just like it would have been in the 1800s. Like it's very old and creepy. So that place doesn't have much power, if at all. So like the place that we were investigating had no power whatsoever. So to hear something that resembled maybe an alarm or like a siren or something. It's totally abnormal.
It was so amazing to catch all those orbs. I mean, we catch so many orbs in the Oak County
know, it was
a mist.
freaking amazing how many we caught.
And then a bat comes out of nowhere. I mean, how scary is that? You know, you're focusing on ghosts and then here comes a bat, you know, and then
I know, it was crazy. You can hear us all screaming.
yes. Yeah, and then we hear a dog barking, and it just sounded so weird while our device is going off. And then we see some kind of weird orb. Yeah, it looked like you said, Maggie, it looked like it had wings.
Yeah, it wasn't like the circle. It was like a kind of like a longer shape, kind of. I don't know how to explain, but we'll insert the clip here so you guys can see it.
What is that? I just saw that. Sounds like a dog. I just heard something. Yeah. That's a dog. The K2's going off.
Did we capture the ghost dog many report hearing and not seeing?
If you're in the tunnel, can you come back down by the green light on the floor? Sure. Do you hear the temperature change? Do you hear
Now that I'm like listing everything, I'm like, man, we caught a lot in those 2 investigations that we went on.
Yeah, we did capture a lot. You know, we usually have good luck, Maggie. I don't know what it is. Whenever you and I go, I know some paranormal investigators probably a little jelly because we catch so much.
If you get anything from Ghost Box, you will see the passion that we had for what we did. And it was 100%, like Lisa said, organic, true, unfabricated evidence that we caught. I don't even think we can fabricate anything, even if we tried. I mean, it's the high-tech stuff is not what we're about. It's about getting the evidence for you on camera. And if it's on camera, I mean, what else do we really need? You know, we had the little K2 equipment, and then we had the spirit box. And then gradually, like in the Mantino episode, you see us with more equipment, you know, as we go along. And that's what we plan to do now is, you know, still that raw, organic feel of Ghost Box, but with a little bit more scientific evidence to prove what we have is organic, real, and unfabricated. So get ready. It's coming.
Yeah, I'm ready myself. So yeah, guys, Ghost Box has not broken up. We're still here. We're going to come out with a bunch of new stuff. We're planning on doing that at least once a week, whether it's a podcast, investigation.
Guys, it's not only us that we do investigations with. We do investigations with, like Lisa said, some skeptics will come along with us sometimes. We have really experienced people that come along with us, like David Scott from IPRA. Had Edward Shanahan came with us on one, or we teamed up together on one with his team. And it's so awesome to get to know people in this field and skeptics who are kind of curious on what we do, and then bringing it all together and showing it on film for you guys. Like, let us know what you want to see. Maybe we can do something that you guys suggest. But we are going to do skeptics. So if you're a skeptic, we would love for you to either be on our podcast or come with us to an investigation if you're interested, and then we can go ahead and talk about it on here.
We come in to investigate with open minds. We question things. We look at it as what it is, not what we were told. We go in to investigate, and that's something that we love to do.
Yeah, it's I know something that you've talked about in your book, and it's something that's always been an interest, which is not really the typical child interest, but it was for me because my dad loved it and then I loved it. And, you know, it was something that I always been interested and fascinated with. And it's always been a passion. I don't think the passion's ever, you know, stopped. Even though like their life gets in the way sometimes, you know, full-time jobs get in the way, family gets in the way, and we can't really practice our passion, but it's still there. You know, it doesn't mean it's gone away. So I'm glad that we're taking this opportunity to practice our passion again and revive it a little bit. Like and subscribe, guys. You don't want to miss the new stuff that's coming out.
It's Maggie and Lisa, and we'll see you on our next podcast.
Yeah.
What is that?